grab a seat as usual and just kind of take a moment to tune into ourselves, just kind of check in, see where we're at physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, all of that good stuff. So find a comfortably straight aligned spine. Take a huge inhale through the nose. Big sigh. Let your shoulders relax, let your eyes close, let your focus turn inward so that you can just be really aware of what you're feeling right now. And let's start some deep, slow Ujjayi breaths. And then bringing your palms together in front of your heart. Let's go ahead and set our intention for practice today. When you're clear about your intention, take a deeper inhale. One last sigh through the mouth. And then relax your arms. You're going to put your hands on your knees. If you're cross-legged, if your legs are extended in front of you, you can just tuck your hands under your thighs. We're going to do some torso circles. So as you exhale, you're leaning forward. And as you inhale, you're leaning back. Just nice, slow circles, kind of feeling into your hips. And if you haven't yet changed directions, do that now. Just go the other way. And then just come back to the center. Roll your shoulders back a couple of times. And then we're just going to transition onto our hands and knees. And so do a couple of cat-cow stretches, just arching and rounding the back in time to your breath. And then just pause, and we're going to do a couple of gentle hip stretches here. So untuck your toes if you're able to. And of course, be mindful of knee issues, but all we're going to do is as we exhale, it's kind of like an off-centered child's pose. Just kind of poke your bum over to the right, like you're trying to sit on your right heel. Both knees stay down, by the way. Inhale, back up, and as you exhale, it's kind of like you're trying to put your bum down on your left heel. Come back up. We'll do that one more time on each side. Exhale, sitting down onto your right heel, slightly off center. Inhaling back to the center, exhaling, sitting down to the left. And then coming back up, you can wag your tail a little bit if you need to. And then we'll take our first child's pose. Forehead down. Your arms can either be extended if that's more comfortable for you, or they can be back by your heels. And then we'll scoot forward into a spine lengthening Sphinx. So heart pulls forward, shoulders are down the back. Glutes are relaxed, of course. We're just lengthening the spine. And then when you're ready, downward facing dog. And so just really pressing the heels down, and you're welcome to do that alternately initially. Pedal the feet, so to speak. And then press both heels down. Make sure your tailbone's reaching up and back. Take another breath here. And slowly walk your feet forward. Keep your knees bent. Relax your neck completely. Hang in ragdoll. And then on your next inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, stretch. And as you exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. All right, taking a moment to really connect down through the soles of the feet, lift up through the crown of the head. And then inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, fold all the way forward, fingertips down. Look up halfway, lengthen. And then back down. Step back with your left foot. And just hang out here in your lunge for a moment. And if you don't normally do tiny movements here, you don't have to, but you might play with a very subtle back and forth rocking motion, just to kind of help separate the inner thighs. We're working on happy hips today. We want our hips to be happy. So drop your left knee down, and you're going to take your right hand literally onto the inside of your right knee. Roll onto the outside of your right foot, then apply some pressure, gentle pressure. So you want to feel this in that right outer hip. If you want to feel it a little more, you can start looking over that right shoulder. Just kind of be gentle though. We've got the whole practice to get things to loosen up. Take one more breath here. And then just let your knee point back up at the ceiling and put your right hand down inside your right foot. See if you can come onto your left forearm. You're welcome to come onto a block if that's better for you. Maybe the right forearm comes down. Just see what happens. And then hands on either side of the right foot, and we just extend the right leg. If you can, flex your ankle and toes on that right leg. And then bend your right knee. Bring the arms up and overhead. Just kind of tilt the pelvis back a little bit. Let the hips move forward. Good. If you're able, just see what happens. Scooch your right foot forward a little bit. Maybe let your hips sink a little farther forward. Be reasonable, of course. And then we'll bring the hands down, take the right knee back to meet the left knee. I want you to wag your tail for a moment. And then before we do our flow, stick your right leg out to the right with the knee bent. Draw 3 big circles in the air with your right knee in each direction. We're just loosening up these hips today. Happy hips. Good. Right knee back down. Those of you that are taking vinyasas may begin that now. Those of you that are hanging with me, we're moving into child's pose. And then from child's pose, either taking Sphinx or Cobra. And then downward facing dog. From your down dog, step forward with your left foot. And again, we'll just be in the lunge for a couple of breaths, maybe doing that gentle, tiny back and forth rocking movement. And if that doesn't feel good to you, please don't do it. You never, ever have to do anything I say, except breathe and take care of yourself. You have to do those 2 things. Let's go ahead and take the right knee down to the mat. The left hand is going to come to the inside of the left knee. Roll to the outside of the left foot. and then start to apply some gentle pressure. Let your left knee point back up at the ceiling. Left hand comes down inside the left foot. Come on to the right forearm or a block, and then maybe the left one as well. Hands on either side of the left foot. Gaze forward as you extend your left leg and flex the ankle. And then we're going to bend the left knee. Bring the arms up and overhead. Tilt the pelvis back, let the hips move forward, opening up front of the right hip. And then just see if maybe you can scoot your left foot forward a little bit and maybe sink a little deeper. Sometimes we just have to sort of encourage our hips a little more. And then from here, go ahead and bring the hands down and take your left knee back to meet your right knee. Wag the tail, and then don't forget we're going to do those little knee circles. So stick your left knee out to the left. Draw 3 circles in the air with your left knee. It's bent, by the way. And then draw 3 circles in the opposite direction. And then take a child's pose or a vinyasa. If you're in child's pose with me, scoot forward into either Sphinx or Cobra. And then downward facing dog. From your down dog, walk your feet forward. Standing forward bend. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Take your feet to the width that you want them for a yogic squat. Keep your heels flat and drop the back side. Remember, if you need to support your weight on your thighs or even having hands on the floor, that's fine. Inhale, arms come all the way back up as we stand up. Exhale, feet together, hands together. Turn sideways. Take a moderately wide stance with your toes rotating out. I want you to bend your knees and put your hands on the insides of the thighs. And press the knees kind of out away from you, like your arms are locked out. And just kind of allow your body to lean forward for a moment. Come back up from that. You can straighten the legs. And then go ahead and take your feet a little bit wider. We'll transition into Warrior Two from here. I'm going to have you rotate your left foot in and your right foot out, bending the right knee to find your Warrior Two. And then I want you to put your right forearm on your right thigh. Reach your left arm up and over for an easy side angle. Come back up, keep your right knee bent if you can. Left hand on left thigh, right arm up and over. And then you're going to come up. Put your right hand on the inside of the right thigh. Left hand is going to slide down towards your left leg. And I want you to straighten your right arm. So you're kind of pushing your torso to the left. Similar to what we just did with both knees bent. Take one more breath here, but keep that right knee bent. Come on up, straighten your right leg, rotate your right foot in, rotate your left foot out. Bend your left knee, find your warrior two. And then easy side angle, left forearm to left thigh, right arm up and over. Come on up from that. Keep your left knee bent. Right hand on right thigh, left arm up and over. Reverse your warrior. Come all the way up. Left hand on the inside of the left thigh. Right hand is going to slide down towards the right ankle. You want to press your left arm straight. Come back up and straighten your left leg. Rotate your left foot in. So now your feet are parallel. They're still wide. Hinge at your hips. Relax your neck. Grab your elbows or let your hands come to the floor, whatever is more comfortable for you. And then from here, we'll just toe heel the feet in towards each other. Take a big inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Our balance is going to be that kind of standing figure four where you start to lean forward. So it's a really nice glute opener. You're going to stand on your right foot first, cross your left ankle over your right knee like a figure four. Arms are up in the air. You start to bend your right knee, but you poke your hips way back. So you're really lengthening your torso, your chest, out over your left shin. Keep that ankle flexed. Keep breathing. You want to feel this in your left glute. And then come back up, and we'll stand on the left foot. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh, just above the knee. Flex the ankle, bring the arms overhead. So you start pressing the hips back behind you, bending your left knee. You're basically trying to get your torso to lengthen out over your right shin. In other words, if you're feeling it in your right glute, your right buttock, your right hip, you're doing it perfect. And then come back up, right foot down, feet together, hands together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Step back onto your hands and knees. Wag your tail a moment. So again, honoring knees, make sure that it's okay for your knees. If you can, you're going to kind of sit back on the heels. And if you can't go all the way back, that's fine. Support your weight on your hands. If you can go all the way back, bring your hands on either side of the knees. Knees stay together and down, and we just shift the hips over to the right. Come back up and shift your hips over to the left. And back up. Those of you that take vinyasas, you've got time to quickly whip one out. The rest of us are going to go straight to downward facing dog now. And then from the down dog, we're going to take the right leg into the air, bend the knee, draw 3 big circles in the air with your right knee. In each direction, by the way. Make sure you go both ways. And then put your right foot back down. Raise your left leg up, bend the knee. 3 big circles in each direction with your left knee. And then drop back down to your knees. Give yourself a little tail wag. Good, and then we're gonna come up to kneeling, and we're gonna be moving into locked gate posture and just taking it into a modified side plank. So I'm actually gonna turn and face you, but I'm not mirroring you, I'm just gonna warn you, so you guys will be going that way while I'm going this way. You're gonna take your right leg out to the right with the foot flat and the leg straight. Right hand is on your right thigh, your left arm is up. I want you to slide your right hand down your right leg until you feel a stretch on the left side of your torso. And see if you can kind of lengthen enough that you feel it slightly in your left outer hip. Now here's what we're gonna do from here. We're just gonna bring our left hand all the way down to the mat and take the right hand to the ceiling, modified side plank. If you feel like you can, only if you feel balanced enough, I want you to take your right leg in the air, keep it straight, and draw 3 little circles in each direction with your right foot. And what you might find is that your left hip felt that, the right foot down. Only if you feel like you can, come all the way back up and then tuck your right knee underneath you. Just a little bit of hip mobility there. So we keep the right knee down, we extend the left leg out to the left with the foot flat and the leg straight. Left hand on the left thigh. Right arm reaches up and then we just slide that left hand down the left leg. So we're stretching out the right side of the torso. I want you to see if you can maybe get a little bit of extra stretch so that you feel that slightly in your right outer hip. And then come on up from that, and we're just gonna take the right hand down to the ground, left hand to the ceiling. So this is just a modified side plank. Only if you feel stable enough, take your left leg off the ground, keep the leg straight, draw 3 small circles in the air with your left foot in each direction. And then put the left foot back down, and if you feel like you can, rise back up. Bring your left knee underneath you, hands to the mat, give yourself a tail wag. Those of you that would like vinyasa, take one. The rest of you, child's pose. And then come into Sphinx or Cobra. And downward facing dog. So from our down dog, we're gonna walk our feet forward. Standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Take the feet wide for your second yogic squat. Buns go down as much as you comfortably can. You support your weight on your thighs if you need to, but you breathe and you keep your chest lifted. On your next inhale, come all the way up. And as you exhale, bring your feet together and your palms together. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up and lengthen. And then exhale, back down. So we're kind of making a full circle with our practice today. You're going to step your left leg back. Hold your lunge for a moment. Maybe do that little back and forth rocking motion. So this is the very first warm-up series that we did. And what I'd like you to do is kind of compare how your hips feel now to how they felt when you first did this today. Drop your left knee down, put your right hand on the inside of the right knee, roll to the outside edge of the right foot and apply some pressure. Do you have more mobility or do you have a difference in sensation or is it the same? So there's no wrong answer, right? It's okay if nothing's changed. We just want to notice that, observe it. Take one more breath here. Let your right knee come up. Right hand comes down inside the right foot. Come onto the forearms if you can. At least the left one should be down. Hands on either side of the right foot. Extend your right leg. Flex the ankle and toes. Notice if your hamstring feels any different. Bend your right knee. Let's go ahead and scooch it forward a tiny bit anyway. Hands overhead. Pelvis tilts back. Hips move forward. How are the front of the hips feeling? Bring your hands down. Let's step straight back to downward facing dog. Press those hips back. And then step forward with your left foot. Maybe doing a gentle back and forth rock. Dropping the right knee down, bringing the left hand to the inside of the left knee, rolling onto the outside edge of your left foot and applying some pressure. And then we're going to bring the left hand inside the left foot. Let your left knee point at the ceiling. See if you can make it down onto your right forearm, perhaps both. Hands on either side of the left foot. Extend your left leg. Bend your left knee, maybe go ahead and scooch your left foot forward a little bit. And then arms overhead, pelvis tilts back, hips move forward. Bring your hands down, take your left knee back to meet your right knee. Wag your tail. Vinyasa friends, you're taking your last one. The rest of us will take our last child's pose for today's practice. Scoot forward into either Sphinx or Cobra. And then we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Last down dog. So really push your hips up and back. From here, I'd like you to walk your feet forward, have a seat, legs extended. Taking a moment in Dandasana, which means, of course, you have to connect to those lovely sit bones. Straight spine, active legs. Just kind of check in. How are things feeling, particularly in your hips? And then go ahead and inhale the arms up and exhale, lengthen out over both legs. However you want. Just make sure you're not Squeezing the shoulders up by the ears. Let the shoulders remain relaxed. And then come on up from that. I want you to lean back on your hands. Bend your knees so that your feet are flat and they're slightly outside the mat. Just gently drop your knees to one side and then the other. Now, everybody in this class is a little different, so I want you to notice how this feels for you. If this is challenging, or if you feel a lot of sensation in your hips, you're going to keep doing this, okay? If you have a little bit more hip mobility, and this is just for you to try, I want you to be very mindful of your body. For those of you that have more hip mobility, I'm going to turn sideways here. I want you to do the same sort of movement, but with your arms in the air, trying to get one leg to the ground. So my feet are flat, my knees are bent, right? They're wide. I'm gonna have my hands in the air. I'm gonna try and drop one knee to the floor inside and bring the legs back up. Roll onto my hips and drop the other knee. Give this a shot. If it's not working for you, you'll have your hands behind you, continuing to do what we were just doing. If you're able to roll and get your inner knee down to the floor, fantastic. Let's go one more time in each direction, whichever version you're doing. And then if you've been doing this with your hands in the air, put your hands behind you again and just let your knees prop together, keep your chest lifted, keep your feet flexed so that your knees are happy. And then go ahead and extend your legs out again. We're going to keep the right leg straight. Bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Lean out over your right leg. Come on up from that. Pick your left foot up, bring it on top of the right thigh, just above the knee. Same place we had it for our balance pose. Flex that left ankle, very important. Lean out over your right leg again. And then bring your hands right behind your backside. Push into the floor for a very straight spine and bend your right knee. So if you already feel this in your left glute, this is all you have to do. Just keep your spine straight. If you need to, scooch up towards your right heel. Keep the chest lifted, left ankle flexed, and you're kind of pushing your chest forward. So you'll notice this is very similar to what we were doing when we were standing on one leg, except now you don't have to worry about falling over. Take one more breath here. Be mindful of knee issues. Please keep ankles flexed. We're going to walk the right foot over until it is underneath our left knee, not underneath the left thigh. You don't want your left heel up against your bum. It should be out. So if you look down, your shins are aligned. Now, depends on how much sensation you're feeling right now. Some of you may be leaning back, just keeping the chest up, trying to breathe. Some of us may need to lean forward just to get a little more stretch and try and get the shins to stack. And those of you that can easily do this may want to twist to your right. 2 more breaths. Now, we're going to take the left leg, the one that's on top, and slide it all the way over till the left foot is flat. You have an option here. If you need to extend your right leg out straight, go for it. If you're going to keep it bent, now you can tuck that right heel up beside your left glute. Left hand behind you, lift the chest, twist to your left. You can either hug your left knee or you're welcome to bring that right arm outside of it. Unwind all the way, extend both legs out, and give them a good wiggle. And then we'll keep the left leg straight. Bring the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Lean out of your left leg. Come on up from that. Pick your right foot up. Flex the ankle. Bring it on top of your left thigh, just above the knee. Lean out again. From here, we're going to come up. Hands are right behind the back side, pushing to the floor for a straight spine. We bend the left knee. Scooch up if you need to. Make sure your right ankle stays flexed. The chest is lifted and pushing forward. And then from here, we'll take it into fire logs. So you're just going to walk your left foot over so that it's underneath your right knee. Remember, right now, we don't want the left heel tucked up against the thigh. We want it away. Our shins should be like right on top of each other. Keep both ankles flexed, either hands behind you to maintain a straight spine, or you may fold forward to get more sensation. If you're super pliable, you may need to twist a little to your left. Just a couple more breaths. Now we're going to take it into the twist. So your right leg is going to slide on over. That whole right foot is flat. If you need to straighten your left leg, straighten it. If you want to bend it more, do so. Your left heel can be right up against your right thigh now. And we're twisting to the right. So your right hand is behind you. You're either hugging your right thigh with your left arm, or you've got your left arm outside the right near thigh. Good. Unwind from that. Extend your legs out. Give them a good wiggle. Excellent. Hands behind you. They can be behind you quite a ways. Bend your knees. This time we're going to keep the feet flat, but they're together. Drop your knees to one side. You're going to feel yourself roll over that hip bone. That's okay as long as it doesn't hurt. Bring the knees back up and drop them to the other side. So you're actually kind of rolling the outer hips on the floor, giving yourself that little bit of a massage. If it's not comfortable though, don't do it. If it is comfortable, maybe go one more time in each direction. And then go ahead and keep your hands behind you. Bring the soles of the feet together. Press your knees out to the side and down. And try and get the spine nice and straight. And then you may release. Go ahead and hug your knees in. Roll onto your back and rock side to side. So still working on those hips. We're not quite done yet. I'm going to have you take your right thigh really tightly over your left thigh. Hug the knees in. If this is enough and you're feeling plenty in your right glute, leave it alone. You're good. Just stay where you're at. Otherwise, flex the ankles. Reach down and try and grab your ankles. So the magic happens when we open up a little bit at the knee joint. Look at your knees. Try and get them into an L shape, a 90-degree angle. Then you apply a little bit of downward pressure to the feet or ankles. Keep your knees tightly crossed, but let go with your hands. If you can do a deep twist, your left foot is going to go back onto the mat, and you're just going to drop both knees to the left. If that's too much for your back, you're going to uncross your knees and just let your knees drop to the left and let them be together but not crossed. So you choose which is best for you. On your next inhale, bring your legs back up. If they're crossed, keep them crossed, and if they're not, that's okay. We're gonna pick the left foot up off the ground. Let's draw 3 big circles in each direction with our knees. So you'll feel it a little bit more if the knees are crossed. So if you uncrossed them to twist, you might wanna cross them again just to do the knee circles, or you might not wanna do that. You get to choose. As you're finishing out your last knee circle, uncross your legs, hug them in. And then we're going to go the opposite direction. So we're going to take the left thigh really tightly on top of the right thigh. Very tight crossing the legs, hug the knees into the chest. And maybe this is enough. If you want more, flex your ankles, reach down and grab them. Look at your legs. Try and open them up till they're 90 degrees, like an L shape at the knees. Then apply a little bit of pressure. And then we're going to keep the knees crossed. Put the right foot back on the mat. So we're moving into that twist. If you need to uncross your legs, please do. Both legs are going to drop to the right. Left arm opens out to the left. On your next inhale, bring the legs back up. Keep those knees crossed if they are crossed. 3 big slow circles with the knees in each direction. As you finish them out, uncross your legs, hug your knees in, and rock side to side. So now you're going to put your right foot flat on the mat with your right knee bent. I want you to cross your left ankle over your right knee. Here's what we're going to do. This is an outer hip stretch. And so from here, just drop your right leg over, let your hips roll. You want to get the entire sole of your left foot on the ground. Then you're going to use your right hand and push against the inside of your left thigh. But I want you to keep that left foot flat, so don't let your left foot come up off the floor. Now, for those of you with really open hips who aren't feeling anything here, and by the way, you should be feeling it in your left outer hip. If you need to, all you do is your right knee, the one that's on the ground, you bring it up a little bit, you shorten the angle at your right hip, make sure your left foot is still flat, and again, you push against the inside of your left thigh. Bring the leg back up. Put your left foot on the mat. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Flex that ankle. Drop your legs to the left. You want the entire sole of your right foot to touch the ground. You're going to use your left hand on the inside of your right thigh. Again, if you're not feeling it and you've got everything positioned correctly, then you're just going to bring your left knee up a little bit towards your left armpit. Again, your left hand presses against the inside of the right thigh. The entire sole of your right foot is flat. You should be feeling this in that right outer hip region. Bring your legs back up, uncross them, hug them in, rock side to side. And then we're going to put the feet flat with the knees bent, with the feet outside the edges of your mat. So wider than your mat, you should feel floor or carpet or whatever underneath your feet, but not mat. And then we're going to drop both knees to the left. So the first thing I'd like you to do is just for a second, raise your head and look down. If you're already feeling enough, then it doesn't really matter where your legs are, you're good. If you're not feeling it enough, the first thing you want to look for is make sure that your right knee is directly under your right hip. In other words, your right thigh is parallel to the long sides of your mat, and you have a 90-degree angle at your knee, and that your right ankle is flexed. If that's the case and you're still not feeling enough, then you can take your left foot and put it on top of the right knee, letting the left leg relax so that you've got a little bit of weighted leverage. You don't have to do that though. You may not need to do that. So just be mindful of what your body says is the correct thing for you. From here, if your left foot was on top of your right knee, take it off. Put it back outside the mat. Bring both knees up and drop them over to the right. So same thing, you pause for a moment. If you're feeling enough, you don't have to do anything. If you're not feeling enough, you just raise your head and look down at your left leg. If your left thigh is parallel to the long sides of the mat, and your left knee is at 90 degrees with the ankle flexed, and you're still not feeling enough, then you put your right foot on top of your left knee and just let that right leg relax. Otherwise, carry on. If you're feeling the right amount of sensation in your left outer hip, that's all you got to do. If your right foot is on top of the left knee, take it off, put it back outside the outside edge of your mat. And now we're just going to let the knees prop together. This is going to feel a little different in the hips. Just take a couple of breaths here. And then hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself one more yummy side to side rock. And then I want you to separate your knees, reach your arms between the knees and grab the inside arches of your feet and come into dead bug. So that means your lower legs are vertical, your ankles are flexed, your heels are stacked over the knees, and you're pulling straight down. And then release your feet to the mat. Let the soles of the feet touch. Allow your knees to just drop open. We're going to lengthen the low back. So on your next inhale, press your low back into your mat. You're going to kind of feel the pubic bones scoop up, which is good because you're technically doing a posterior pelvic tilt. On your next exhale, release. Let the curve come back into the spine. One more time. Inhale, flatten the back. Exhale, release. Begin to extend your legs out. Separate the feet however much you want. And then I suggest a little internal, external rotation, which basically means you're rolling your thighs in and out and then just let them flop. Lengthen your spine. Bring the hands below the heart with the palms facing up. Relax your jaw, softly close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh as you just settle down and relax. Just allowing the body to soften. Allowing your mat and the floor and beneath that the earth to hold you up. And so you'll notice that as your body relaxes, your breath gets gentler. It actually gets shallower. A lot of people think it should get deeper, but no, because your body needs less oxygen when you're completely relaxed. And so your breath adjusts. It's a much gentler, quieter breath, a lot shallower. And once the breath does that, you might notice that your thoughts do as well. They may become a little shallower, a little gentler, and hopefully quieter. And that's basically what we're going to be looking at during Shavasana today, is that space between the thoughts. So I would love for you to simply watch your thoughts as you lie here at Shavasana and look for the space between them, which means when a thought arises, you can't stay with it and chew on it. You have to let it go so that you can watch for that space before the next thought appears. Just make note of whether it was easy or challenging to focus on the space between the thoughts. Notice if you even had any space between your thoughts, or did you get caught up in your thoughts? And then just bring your awareness back into your body, starting to add in a little bit of movement and deepening your breath. And then on your next big inhale, spread the fingers and toes. Exhale through your mouth, relax your fingers and toes. Deeper breath in, stretch, stretch, stretch. And exhale with a sigh as you relax. Bend your knees. Roll to one side, preferably your right. And then press yourself up into sitting. So since we've worked with the space between the thoughts, we're going to work a little bit with the space between our breaths. In yoga, there are 4 parts to the breath: the inhale, the holding in of the breath or interior retention, the exhale, and the holding out of the breath or the exterior retention. And so that exterior retention, that holding out of the breath, you can think of that as just the pause before the next breath happens, kind of like that pause before your next thought occurred. We'll keep it pretty simple. This will be a ratio breath. And so your inhale and your exhale are going to be equal. Those of you used to doing yoga breaths, that means you're going to have to slow down your inhale or speed up your exhale. They'll be the same length. And then the 2 holds, interior and external, will also be the same length, but they'll be half of your inhale and exhale. So that is effectively a 2-1 ratio. What that might look like is an inhale of 4, holding the breath for 2, an exhale of 4, holding the breath out for 2, or inhaling for 6, holding for 3, exhaling for 6, holding out for 3, etc. Do whatever length you are comfortable with. Please remember that if you have respiratory issues or asthma or even anxiety about holding your breath, particularly holding your breath out, you can skip it. Not that important. It's just an exercise in creating space. So choosing whatever's best for you. Just find your nice straight spine. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale completely through your nose. And then begin your count, 2-1-2-1 ratio breathing. Finish off the breath that you're on. And then slowly bring your palms together in front of your heart in gratitude. Gratitude for the body that moved you through your practice today. Gratitude for your breath that animates your body. Gratitude for your mind that gives you awareness of your breath and body. Gratitude for your beautiful heart that keeps bringing you back to your yoga mat, bringing you back to connection. And then take one more deep breath in through your nose. Exhale with a happy sigh. Bringing palms together in front of our foreheads, we're reminded to just be in the moment, to stay present. Bringing our palms together in front of our mouths, we're reminded to speak our truth. And bringing our palms together in front of the heart, our beautiful hearts, we're reminded to keep them open. to always practice kindness, compassion, and love, and to make sure that we're included in that. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic day. Namaste.